All right. Hey, everybody. Dan here. And I want to look at Apple today. Now, they report earnings tomorrow, right? Tomorrow evening. But we got Microsoft today that reported strong earnings. Stock went up. It kind of did what I would have expected it to do, which is still be in a trading range. I don't think there's any opportunity here, period. It's just a sloppy chart. It's below the 200-day moving average here. Was below the 50, but this is kind of in no man's land. We've got Tesla, which is that's only awesome if you're short. Don't be looking at this. It's a falling knife. We've got Meta with cash flow issues, guidance issues, not a whole lot good going for them right now. And so most of this stuff is just bleh. And then we've got Apple. And Apple has been hitting all-time highs, even while all these other stocks like Micron, SanDisk, have been just absolutely blowing chunks. Apple is doing great. So here's the deal for their earnings. Okay, they've been running up. Now, we're long the stock in the active trade list, not really very profitable on it, but we are profitable. I think that at this point, just because of the nature of the market, I think that this is going to be a real risky stock to be holding over earnings because the market's already discounting great earnings. If it wasn't, then the stock wouldn't be running higher. Like this. And so, as I mentioned in my strategy session just a couple minutes ago, that the market discounts the future. It doesn't wait for it. And so the market has already been discounting a real great quarter. And you probably know, but maybe not, Apple's raising the price of their phones. It won't matter. People will still buy them. But they're raising the price of their iPhones because memory's going up. Like there's a lot of inflation there, and they got to deal with that, which means you and I have to deal with that. Okay, well, the stock's still been running up. My bet is that if earnings are really, really awesome, the stock's going to pop and then it'll drop. It'll just kind of stay within this pattern. We can go out to the weekly chart. You can see, I mean, I'll start over again. This has been a really, really nice zigzaggy stock, but this is the channel right here. And so if the company reports good earnings, I could see the stock popping maybe to 350, but then it's going to fall right back into the channel unless something really, really amazing happens. And so I wouldn't be long this stock into earnings. If the stock fell, like let's say it fell back to the 50-day moving average. Okay, if it did that, I would be inclined to pick this up because it's in an uptrending uh, position. These other stocks have not been. Like to look at, not to, well, just look at any of them. Lattice Semi. Oh, when this comes down to the 200, that'll be a great time to buy. No, it's not in an uptrend. Nvidia, no, it's not in an uptrend. Okay. Microsoft, not in an uptrend. Google, not in an uptrend. Um, None of these stocks are in real uptrends. I mean, Google kind of, but not really. But Apple, this still is. And so the uptrend is giving its bona fides are pretty much, established here within this uptrend. And so as long as you've got an uptrend in one of the Mag 7s and the rest of them are just like not really so good, this is one that I would want to be considering buying if the stock pulls back. If the stock, on the other hand, breaks out, I wouldn't go near it. Wouldn't touch this thing. I wouldn't short it, but I wouldn't go near it. So anyway, that's the way I am looking at Apple. And you may either agree with me or disagree with me, but there's no ambiguity in the way I'm seeing this right now. So anyway, see y'all later. I've been on vacation, a lot of you know, for the last week and a half. It's good to be back, and I hope everybody's done well in my absence. Okay, I'll see you.